Hello everybody, I'm back. It has almost been 3 weeks, and I gotta tell you, it's a really good feeling to be back in my chair, amongst my lights, in the darkness of my bedroom, to talk to you all about terrible and good media. I've got a lot to catch up on because it has been a few weeks since I've made a video. I don't know where I'm gonna start. I've got a lot of topics to discuss. We need to talk about the last few episodes of House of the Dragon, a show that, in my opinion, is just getting better and better with each coming week. We also need to talk about the Rings of Power. As of today, Season 1 is over. I've seen it all, and there's a lot I want to say, but a lot I won't say. And also, we need to talk about... Actually, that's all I need to talk about, is those two shows. That's sort of been the only thing I have been talking about on the channel for a little while now, so I think I'll cap those both off, and next week, hopefully, I'll have some brand new content for you all. We'll see. But today, we're gonna start with the Rings of Power, because this show is so frustrating, and it happens to be the show that gets me the most views, so we're gonna talk about the Rings of Power. Now, the last time I spoke about the Rings of Power, I believe it was at the end of episode 5, and I had to make that video because I just had to get it off my chest that I felt like the story was going in circles, leading nowhere, there was no forward momentum. And I said, alright, I won't watch it again till the end, which was a lie, because I watched every episode when it was released after that. So episode 6 come out, and I liked episode 6 for the most part. It was just sort of the long battle, there was the explosion of Mount Doom. You know, it's stuff that doesn't make sense, but it was cool enough to see. Something happening in the show was interesting, you know? I was like, oh, finally, some real fucking food.
Some good fucking food.
That happened. And I was okay with it. I was like, alright. The long battle was crap. The logistics of the battle, you know, dropping the watchtower when you just shoot one piece of rope, the entire watchtower fell down. That was dumb. Retreating to the village, and everyone's fighting in the village. And like, there's all these orcs, but then there's none of these orcs, and it's just dumb. Bronwyn gets shot twice, 2 arrows, one here, which, you know, that's got to puncture a lung, and then I think the other was sort of near the kidney or liver, you know. Oh, we'll just burn some oats into your skin and you're fine, you'll be up the next day looking $1,000,000. I hate shit like this. My man Boromir was taken out, you know, he got 3, but he was done after 1. He was gonna die no matter what. So, I don't know, I hate these modern shows where injuries just mean nothing. You know, I understand Bronwyn is a strong, independent woman, but that doesn't mean you survive arrows to the chest. That doesn't mean the next day you're up and talking and hugging people. She hugs Theo, her son, in the next episode when he finally returns after the explosion. You put that pressure on your chest, and she doesn't even wince. It's forgotten. She's healed. Magic elf medicine. Frustrating shit, man. Like, you're a writer. You don't have to write that she got 2 arrows to the chest. You don't have to do that. But they did it. So if you're gonna do it, give it some consequence. The writers of this show feel like they're fresh out of drama school, writing their very first script. It's their first draft, and they go, oh, yep, how clever are we? We're so clever. Bet you didn't see that the Mount Doom was gonna be explained. I bet you didn't see Mount Doom origins explained. Boom, a bit of water. Boom, volcano forever for the next 2,000 years. Boom. That's not how it works. How many exploding volcanoes have gone off in the real world and nowhere has turned into Mordor? I always assumed Mordor was like the culmination of thousands of years of dark magic just turning the land black and sour. That's what I thought. Not that, oh, a dark elf with a somehow scientific mind knew that if we dug tunnels and funneled water from the dam into the side of an open volcano, that will create Mordor. How would they have known that? They wouldn't have known that. They could not have possibly known that. And if that was their theory, and they decided, let's test it out, and they funneled the water into the volcano and a little bit of steam come out the top of it, Boy, that would have ruined your big plans, wouldn't it, Adar? Getting angry. Calm. But that's basically episode 7's aftermath, is dealing with the volcano's eruption. And everyone's talked about it, you know. No one is going to survive that explosion. No one survives that. We see houses get blown apart from the oncoming cloud of smoke. Yet Galadriel just stands there and cops it. Everyone else cops it. All the main characters survive without so much as a burn. Like, give me a fucking break. I am willing to look past certain things in all TV shows and movies. If it's small things that you just gotta go, okay, whatever, as long as you get something else to make up for it. And the explosion of Mount Doom, I was like, okay, it doesn't make sense, but I'll allow it because the visual effects were cool and the fallout from this could be interesting because this is not a part of the books or anything. So if you're going to take it in a new direction, alright, surprise us. So I was actually looking forward to episode 7 to see what happens. But nothing happened. It took me 3 viewings to get through episode 7 because it was that fucking slow. I feel like I'm just repeating myself here. But how do you take such a rich world and make it so vanilla, so boring? I was expecting some reveals. Who is the stranger? Who is Halbrand? Reveal that in the second to last episode, and then deal with some fallout of it in the final episode to set up your season 2. No, as it turns out, they do all the reveals in the last 10 minutes of the season, so now it's like, oh, you want more answers? Wait 2 or 3 years till we release season 2. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I do have notes on my phone, so I'm just going to hit all the beats now. The Balrog was awoken by a leaf that travelled in an impossible route through rock and around. That wakes up the big monster, the big Balrog. That's it, a leaf. From my research, because I've never read these books, I've never been that guy, but I've done a lot of lore reading and research around it, because it is very interesting. And from what I understand, the dwarves, not in this age, but the next age, started to get too greedy and kept digging into the mountain, which was kind of explored with King Durin telling his son to stop it. We don't dig deeper. But he didn't explain why we don't dig deeper. He just said, no, we're not digging deeper. No. And then lost my train of thought. But that, in the canon, in the lore, is the reason why the Balrog was awoken. The dwarves dug too deep, too greedily. And I'm pretty sure they say that in the Fellowship of the Ring, although I might be mistaken. But that's why the Balrog wakes up in the canon, in the lore. And that is a great consequence for the greed of the dwarves. Action and reaction. Here, they're setting up this sort of conflict between the dwarves and elves, saying the old boomer king, the old white dwarf king, doesn't like the elves. He's a racist. And because of him, because he's the one that cast the leaf down into the depths, because of him, and because of his refusal to help other races, that's what wakes up the Balrog. So it seems to me like the writers, again, changing the themes and messages to fit a modern agenda. That's what I'm thinking. And then, it can't be a mistake, because then Durin's son, who is Elrond's friend, the interracial couple with his black dwarf wife, and they're so progressive. They want to help. They want to help the dwarves, the elves. That's not a mistake. That is not a mistake. So now when the Balrog attacks and kills everyone in Khazad-dûm next season, it's because of the old king. It's his fault for not wanting to help. That sucks. That is it. Moving on before I get carried away. The next bullet point I've got here is mithril. So mithril has been turned into this super important MacGuffin plot device to save the elves. And they don't explain this properly at all. And as I said, I don't know the history of elves. I know they're immortal and something to do with their lands. They sail west where they don't die. I don't know the details. So take this as a casual viewer telling you, okay? What does it mean about the light of the trees or the light of Valinor? It's dissipating, so the elves have to return home. It doesn't make sense. If they have this nice, beautiful home without orcs and without war, and their light is over there, why did they ever come to Middle-earth? Why are they even trying to stay in Middle-earth? Just go home then. I don't understand. And then you're going to tell me that they need this mithril, and everyone has to be saturated in it, they say, to even stay alive. So what, they have to wear mithril at all times to be alive in another country? That doesn't make sense. And then these writers take it from that. Oh, we need everyone to be in mithril. To no. Oh, why don't we just wear a crown? Gil-galad can just wear a crown, and that will save the elves. Until no. Let's make some rings. That'll be enough. But we'll mix it with gold and silver from Valinor. It makes no sense. I don't understand why this is necessary. And Galadriel. You know what I hate? Is that I hate when actors get bashed for things that are not their fault. Now, we can criticise the acting in the show, yes, maybe, but we don't know as well the direction actors are given and what goes on and everything else, okay? You know, it's not fair. It's like, I'll use the example of Jon Snow in Season 8 of Game of Thrones. You are my queen. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I never wanted it. I never asked for it.
I don't want them to kneel for me.
I don't want it.
Daenerys is our queen.
She shouldn't be. You are my queen. I don't know what else I can say. You are my queen.
While she
is my queen.
That's the writing he was given. And so, his character sucked. But before that, he was great, and Kit Harington, as an actor, is good. So to criticise these actors, I don't think is 100% fair. But Galadriel is so unlikable. And I've seen interviews with her actress. She's likeable. She's a cute, funny, bubbly little girl. But none of that is translated. They try to do the strong woman thing where no flaws, I fight because I have to fight and I can't show emotion and blah, 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 blah. And she suffers as a character majorly. She goes on a genocidal rant about going to kill all the orcs to Adar when he is her prisoner. She's even going to kill him when he's tied up, an unarmed prisoner of war. War crimes. And then the next episode she goes from saying, oh, I'm Hitler, Galadriel, I'm going to kill your race, to saying to Theo, no, you've got to let hate go, you've got to leave it behind you, you got to... No. The character writing is so inconsistent, it is unbelievable. Mordor, let's touch on the creation of Mordor. As I said earlier, I don't mind changing the origins of things, but it has to make sense. At this point in the story, Adar is a bigger threat than Sauron. Who the fuck is Sauron? At this point in time, Sauron, no one even believes Sauron exists, first of all. And now at this point in the season, Sauron has done nothing. He is not involved, up until episode 7, he is not involved in the creation of any rings of power. He does not have anything to do with Mordor. And why would anyone give a shit about Sauron? I'll touch on who Sauron really is soon, but up till this point, Sauron has no reason for being in the show, except for being Sauron, and we all know Sauron and the pointy helmet. Other than that, what is the point of Sauron? It's dumb. I've thought the whole season long, Halbrand is Sauron, because it's obvious. He was into smithing. He's one, as when you cast an actor, you cast him for a certain thing, and this guy, you could tell straight away something was up with him. He kind of looks a bit devilish, like he could be a villain. So immediately your head goes to villain. Who would be the villain? Sauron. So I call this from day dot. But the reveal that he's Sauron and he's trying to manipulate Galadriel to be his queen, and he's manipulating Celebrimbor to create rings of power. Why? It's not set up why. Celebrimbor is meant to be the greatest elven smith of all time, but he has no ideas. He looks clueless. He looks like he's never stepped foot in a forge before. I bet he's got nice soft little hands too. I'm not liking this video because I'm ranting and losing my way a lot of the time, but this is what the show's done to a lot of people. It's just tied your brain into knots and you just don't know what to think. But Halbrand is revealed as Sauron, and he, tries to recruit Galadriel up front, and she denies him and blah blah blah, and then he's gone. He's out. You see him on a cliff top overlooking Mordor, like, honey, I'm home. Like, who the fuck are you? So Sauron is just like this guy. This guy. He's just this guy. So his plan makes no sense. Why was he out on the water in the first place when he met Galadriel? If she didn't find him, if no one picked him up, would he have died out there? I don't understand. I thought Sauron was meant to be this all-powerful being, this godlike demon essence, but he's just a guy. He's just a guy that for some reason wanted to help make rings of power. But what are the rings of power? How are these rings magical? They're just rings that they made. As I said, casual fan. And from what I understand, the 16 other rings of power for men and dwarves were made first, I think. Which makes sense. You make them, give them away. Celebrimbor makes the 3 secretly without Sauron's influence. If this is doing my head in, I can only imagine what it's like being a real fan of this stuff. Got nothing to say. What am I meant to say? I can't forget to talk about Gandalf. So it is Gandalf, the wizard, because he says that line, "Follow your nose," which is from the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm fine with that being Gandalf. I don't care. Changing the origin, whatever. They're allowed to interpret things and change things. That's one of the things that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Just do better next season, please. I will watch the next season. It's one of these things, this show. There's that much goodwill in the franchise from the books, the lore, the movies, that people want to watch this and they want it to be good. People don't want this to be bad. People want to enjoy what's coming. And there have been good things in this season. No one can deny there isn't a better looking TV show ever. This is probably the nicest looking show. It just looks crisp, well lit, beautiful. It's just very nice. But they can do so much more. And I don't want to touch on the $1 billion budget again, but where the fuck did it go? There's something going on at Amazon. Something fishy. We're on to you, Bezos. We're on to you. I don't know. I've got no more to say. This is a highly, highly disappointing season. I hope the second season is better. They've already started filming it, so if they've continued to use the same filmmakers and the same writers, I imagine we're in for the same shit. These writers just feel like they're straight out of film school. They've got no idea what they're doing. They think, ooh, we're going to try and change things to subvert expectations, Oh, this is Sauron. The stranger is Sauron. Really? Really? No. Follow your nose. I'm Gandalf. Halbrand. He's the king of the Southlands. And the Southlanders just accept him as king without any documentation that he's king. How dumb are you? You deserve to be ruled, you morons. I'm turning the camera off because I'm getting angry again. Goodbye.